Hello everybody. Welcome to Cheryl's Creations. Welcome to my tutorial, and let me tell you, this is my first tutorial and this is my third attempt or so. I'm eventually going to get this right. I have been promising the tutorial on how to make these walking monsters, and so here we go. I hope this all works out. I had to get a new camera. My phone didn't have enough storage space. So I'm winging it here, gang. So the first thing you're going to need is the walking feet wind-up mechanism. I purchased these off of Amazon. There are different sizes. There are different colors. But I will put a link into the ones I purchased. I think when I averaged it out, they run about $1.50 a piece. $1.25, $1.50. Okay, and then you will need eyes, and these are the eyes that I chose. I love these eyes for different things. There's lots of different eyes in here. You can see by my others that I did the different types of eyes. So, but you could pick any type of eyes. If you want to stitch on your eyes, that's okay also. The yarn I used is just a scrap ball of 4-weight. This is a remnant of Red Heart Retro Stripe. And if you use the 4-weight, I'm using a number 4 or a 4mm hook. If you use a smaller weight yarn, then you'll need to adjust your pattern and add maybe an extra row in the circumference or the circle to make it a little bit bigger to compensate. So let's get started. The reason I had to get a camera is because my phone kept running out of space. So I'm hoping to do this so that my camera battery doesn't die, and you know, it's all good. So the first thing I do, I use a chain 2 method. If you use the magic circle, it's the same process. Okay, so you want 6 stitches in your circle. 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then pull it snug to kind of close that up. You can put your stitch marker in now. Sometimes I wait till round 2, but you know, I tried that in my last attempt and I didn't count right because I was trying to talk and count at the same time. So I'm going to put my stitch marker in, and this second row you are going to increase in each of the stitches. So you're going to do 2 stitches in each of them, and you will end up with 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So your third round, you're just going to keep increasing. So the third round is going to be a single crochet and then an increase all the way around. And that will give you 18 stitches. And so this is where, if you are using a thinner weight yarn, you may have to add an extra row and go out and do another round that would have 2 single stitches and then an increase, which would give you 24. You know, to kind of get your circumference or the width of your head, so to speak. Oops, what did I do here? Did I get 2 in there? 1, 2, 1. I got talking and lost count. That's easy for me to do. I don't know about you guys, but you know, some of you guys that do the let's chat video and crochet while you chat, I don't know how you do it. I mean, I can watch TV and crochet, but I cannot crochet and talk very well. I guess it's something I'm going to have to keep working on. So, all right. So there's my 18 stitches, right? So this is going to be the width of our head. Okay. So the next round, round 4, you are going to do 18 stitches in back loop only, right? So this is going to get you turned to come down to create the body. So we'll get around here. And get our 18. Oops. All right. So the next step, okay, so now you've done your back loop only. You're starting to get this ridge, which kind of separates the head from, you know, then coming down from the body. Then what you're going to do is you're going to do 2 rounds of 18 single crochets. So you're going to do 2 rounds, and I will put those on there quickly. I will come back when I have these on. Okay, so here's your 2 rounds of 18. And this is what your monster is starting to look like. Your next row, you're going to do 7, 8, 9, 9 and 9 are 18. You're going to do, I have to count. You're going to do 8 single crochets and then an increase, and you will do that twice. So that will give you 20 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there's my, oh no, a thread. Can you tell I'm in my sewing space also? I get threads. 1, 2, 1, 5, 7. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How come I can't count? 1, 2. Okay, so now what you're going to do is we're going to do one row of 20, all right? So you'll do 20 single crochets, so just one round. You can see my colors starting to change. And then the next row, you will put the arms in. And I'm telling you, the arms are probably the hardest thing of the entire project. Trying to get those where you want them. All right. So what I normally do is I like to have my arms, they're not quite halfway around. So I usually bring them in like a stitch or so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crochet 2, right? And then I'm going to chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm going to go back down that chain and I'm going to slip stitch into 3 of the stitches. 1, 2, 3. Okay. From there, I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to work back down the chain with 3 slip stitches. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So I usually put 2 fingers. If you want more fingers, you want a fist, whatever, you know, just make whatever you want at the end of that. So there's my 2 fingers, and then I'm going to continue to slip stitch back down the chain. Oops. Mine do twist sometimes when I get, so I turn it over. All right, so I have slip stitched back down the chain, right? And then I continue around. I want to do 8 stitches in between my arms. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me get my yarn all undone here. 7, 8. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm going to slip stitch back down 3 stitches. 1. Oops, I don't have my tension there. 2, 3. And then I will chain 4, 2, 3, 4. Slip stitch back down 3, 1, 2, 3. And then I'll, you know, just like I did on the other one, I'm going to slip stitch back down the rest of that arm. 1. Now again, you can have as many arms or fingers. It's all to your liking. I mean, I just sat down with a hook and a ball of yarn and just played with it until I had something that looked fun. Okay? So once you get back down, then you will just single crochet the rest of the stitches around to your stitch marker or to the end of that row. So all right, now you can put your eyes in pretty much any time. So, and there's no rhyme or reason to where the eyes go. So you can put them up towards the top. You can put them down towards the arms. I usually kind of like them somewhere in the middle, especially for this size. Now, if I was using a different size, then I might put them somewhere else. But I put my eyes on, and here's my back. I put the back on and snap it on. Some people burn the back of theirs or melt them to make them more secure. You can do that. In this tutorial, I'm not going to start a fire in this one. So anyway, so what we want to do next, let's see, how close are we? All right, so we're going to do 1 or 2 rows. It all depends on how tall you want it. You do 1 or 2 more rows of the 20 stitches. I'm gonna move my stitch marker here. And then, you know, I did one, and I don't have it up here. I did one that had a rounder shape to it. It kind of drug down, the feet didn't work as well. So when I come to the arms, a lot of times I'll do a stitch right in on top of where that arm goes. Oops. Okay. And then I'll pull it forward and then get the stitch on the other side. Okay. I just work around it. Or you could have done this in a front loop only, and then you would have had the back loop to work in. It just all depends on how you know, it's your preference. This is not, it's not, well, it'll change the looks, but the way you want it to look is your particular, it's how you want it. So again, I'm going to go right in there, do my single crochet, come to the other side, and pick that up. And so this is kind of how your arms are looking, right? So I'll finish that row of 20. Okay. So he's getting pretty tall. He's getting there. Looks like this one had, okay. So I am going to do 2 more rows of 20. So you did 1 row of 20 that went around the arms. So you'll do 2 more rows. So that'll be 3 rows of 20, or 2 rows after or 3 rows after the arms. And I will come back and get you guys when I've got my 2 rows in. One. Okay, I'm almost to the end of my second row of 20. Now, if you want to put some kind of a tail on, I am like 2 stitches, or, find the center of your back. And this is where you can add a tail. This one has a tail. I chained out, I don't know, 10 or 15, and then did 2 stitches in each chain going back down, and it made it a curly tail. You don't have to have a tail. Most of my other ones do not. But if you want a tail, you can put any kind of tail on there you would like. But this is where you would do it, okay? 2 stitches from the end of that 20. I'm not going to put a tail on this one, but you can. So there are my last 2 stitches, all right? So you can see that all we have to do yet, excuse me, all we have to do yet is do a little bit of a decrease so that it tightens up around the foot mechanism. So what we will do is we will do 2 stitches, 2 single stitches, and then a decrease all the way around, right? And that'll bring us in a little bit. Should bring us in enough that we can snug that right in. Because what we do from here is I took a needle and the end of my yarn and secured this, which I'll show you here in just a second. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but it's okay. I think y'all will get it. Okay, so there's my decrease row. All right, looking pretty good. Now, if you want noses or stuff like that, you can decorate them up any way you'd like. I don't have one up here, but there's one that I added strips of yarn and made it, gave it some hair. So the one thing you do when you assemble these is the wind-up mechanism has to come out through the yarn. So sometimes it's a little bit of a trick. Oops. You kind of pull it over there and just find a spot between the stitches and put it in there so that everything is looking forward. Okay. On these, what I did is I took a needle and I took the end of my thread. Okay. So if I cut this off, after I find a pair of scissors. Cut that off. That's not a very good pair of scissors. All right. And I got the end of my yarn. All right. I just came along and picked up these loops and snugged them up tight. If you're happy with kind of where that's at, you could secure this off. One thing I didn't do on these that I will probably do in the future is just put a tad bit of glue. You want your last row of crochet to fit in this ridge, okay? And so you could always put a little bit of glue there, and that would glue the body to the legs. Okay, you will need a tad bit of stuffing up here, which I didn't bring any up here with me. Oh, I'm so bad at this. Anyway, you put a little bit of hair in there, or a little bit of stuffing. You can do, and then stitch on your mouth. You can stitch on any kind of mouth. You can stitch on a nose. Okay, and this is just either a black embroidery thread What I like to use for my facial features is I went and got DMC number 5 thread. It's a thicker thread. It came in a little spool like this, and it's a lot easier to work with than like embroidery floss or something like that. So I'll get my container of that out one of these days, and I'll show it to you in a different video. So all you need to do is add your face, make sure he's secured. I take my stitch marker off. Oops. He's going to hold his thread here. Ta-da! He's going to have a little crown. Wind him up. Oh, my thing's not real flat. And there he goes. Now, I didn't tell you in the beginning, but these mechanisms, some of them when they come, they're stiff. So a lot of times I'll wind them up and let them go several times, and then they'll start walking a little farther, a little easier. The more weight you put up here, the harder it is for the legs to work. That's why the big round one I did just really didn't work very well. So that's it. That's how to make these little walking monsters. I just love them. I put these in a bag. We did teacher's gifts for my grandkids, and I put one of these in each of their bags with a custom-made ink pen and some candy canes and stuff. And the teachers were tickled to no end. They just absolutely loved them. So anyway, there we go. That's how to make a walking monster. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please reach out. This is my first tutorial, and I am not the best at this. So please let me know how I did. Thank you very much. Crochet away, everybody.